Now I'm very excited to welcome back a college football and horse racing expert that you've heard many times on the Bear Bets podcast and Fox Sports Big Noon Kickoff, and Chris Fallica, the Bear. You can follow Chris on X at Chris Fallica. Happy Thanksgiving, my man. Here we are. It's Thanksgiving week. It's a tradition that you come back for this, my man. Thank you.
I was going to say the annual Thanksgiving tradition, unlike any other. The Bear and Kiev Thanksgiving football and Thanksgiving food preview.
Oh, yeah. And I love the preview myself, and I hope everyone's got their appetites ready. You are the Thanksgiving man, and one of the best to talk to. We always text each other some of the good stuff that we eat during the year. And now I'm excited to talk about that. But do you have any other big plans this week besides watching the big games, Michigan, Ohio State, and all that?
No, sister and her family are coming up on Wednesday night for the day on Thursday, and then I head to Ann Arbor on Friday morning for Ohio, the little game in Ann Arbor, Ohio State, Michigan on Saturday afternoon. So just a life on the road during college football season, which I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. And you'll be taking off and watching some great games, and that's the life. But hey, you've been doing that for years. And first, we'll get our turkey in. And speaking of turkey, I want to talk some turkey to get the juices flowing, Chris. You kind of gave me this idea when you sent me this Instagram, like a video of some really delicious thing to do with some of your turkey and some of your leftovers. I think it was like I think they take the potatoes and cheese and kind of make patties out of them and kind of wrap them and dip it in gravy.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to do this on Sunday. Just you take your leftover mashed potatoes and you make it like a kind of like a tortilla or a little bit of a pancake kind of deal, and load it up with the interior with sausage and turkey, and then you dip it in gravy. Like I can't. I might be looking forward to that more than I actually am Thursday afternoon.
Absolutely, man. I am too. I saw that. I'm definitely trying. As a matter of fact, I bought extra potatoes just so we can make sure we have enough leftovers to do something like that. So I'll be trying that. But it got me thinking about best things to do. And I can't remember if we've done this before. I don't think we have. Best things to do with your leftovers, and that's going to be one of them. I can't rank it just yet in mine, just because I haven't done it yet. But let's do our top 5 best thing to do with leftovers. Do you have a 5?
I'm not really super creative with this. I just eat them as normal. I mean, I'm not like looking to reinvent the wheel here, right? Like maybe throw, like I said, without the mashed potatoes, like put the stuffing and the turkey together in a frying pan and kind of like mash it up into a patty. Because I usually use a little bit of sausage in my stuffing, so you kind of mash it up together, and then with the gravy, it's like, come on. I mean, what's better than that?
Oh, dude, that's freaking amazing. I agree. And I used to be very basic myself until I had kids and a wife. Then you realize you have to get creative to get them to eat the leftovers. Otherwise, you're just eating a full turkey.
All right, so let me hear what Dad Kiev has to say here.
All right. Well, I think number 5 is turkey noodle soup. It's a solid thing to do. You can just get some chicken broth and just kind of throw it all together. Just a good way to kind of get to the ends of it. I recommend doing that at the very end when it's starting to dry out a little bit, because the soup will actually wet and moisten that meat up a little bit for you. So number 5 will be turkey noodle soup. Number 4 is turkey chili. Who does not love good old turkey chili on a cold winter day, Chris? And it's winter in most places in the United States.
And that's good, because I mean, like I love chili, and a lot of times you can use some shredded beef instead of just the traditional ground beef or ground turkey. But yeah, little shredded turkey in there. That's a great call right there.
All right, so great. We're on a good start then. Number 3, turkey pot pie. Man, I mean, why not?
Love making a pot pie. Usually I do chicken pot pie, but yeah, turkey pot pie is great. Get yourself a little Dutch oven, make your roux, mix it all together with your peas and carrots, and throw it in there. Shred up some turkey and cover that bad boy up. Yeah, pot pie during the winter and fall months is fantastic.
Absolutely. You get everything. It's like that puts you to sleep right there. You want to go to bed, eat a turkey pot pama, man. Number two is turkey sliders, Chris. Yeah, you got to mix it up some too. Hawaiian rolls, a little
Yep.
bit of turkey on each piece, maybe some with some marmalade on it, right? Some cheese.
Marmalade, or maybe even a little leftover cranberry relish or cranberry jam that you might have left over from. I mean, are you like a whole berry real cranberry guy? Or are you like take the ocean spray jar and like throw it out and have it slide on out?
Secret, I'm neither. I don't like cranberry much.
Ooh.
I
All
know,
right,
right? I
all
know.
right.
I hit you hard with that. I mean, but I do like marmalade, and there's sometimes leftover types of jellies that people bring over and do that. I don't know why I never got into cranberries, Chris. It's just, I think I was a kid.
That's all right. Well, you did say like marmalades and stuff. One of the things that I guess you could incorporate with one of the things that I like making is like an app. Like I like making I get like the red pepper jam, the red pepper jelly, the red pepper relish. Usually it's like a Harry and David or a Stonewall Kitchen type of deal with some cream cheese. So maybe you get some of that, throw it on the Hawaiian roll and the turkey, and you got a little turkey with a little red pepper jam and a little cream cheese on there too. That might work.
No, there you go. I mean, I love the way you're thinking. This is what I need. I need to have those kind of ideas when I get to this and make all those. You know, we got a pretty big turkey, 16, 17 pound turkey. So we're going to have to figure out some ways to expend it. I like it. I like it. And then you know what else you do? Maybe put a butter glaze on top of those turkey sliders with the Hawaiian rolls, just a little butter glaze on top.
Okay.
Yeah. That's that. You just kind of dump it on top
Yep.
before you throw it in the oven. That's a good idea too, my man. Extra flavors. Number one, I love chicken tetrazzini, so I'm going to make turkey tetrazzini with it, my man. Chicken tetrazzini has been one of my favorite dishes. There's a certain way to make it. It's kind of like a white sauce, not quite Alfredo. You just mushroom in it. You kind of make it yourself with, whipped cream and heavy whipping cream, I should say, and definitely a lot of butter. And it is just absolutely delicious. And it's almost like you're eating Alfredo, but it's turkey tetrazzini, a little bit more Italian. Well, I guess Alfredo's Italian, but a great Italian dish right there for you.
Alfredo's fake Italian.
Okay.
Italian.
Well, there you go.
I'm not there with you on that. You can make a little turkey bolognese too. Now that I'm thinking of, you're talking about turkey chili. Maybe, I made a big batch of bolognese the other night. Maybe a little turkey bolognese instead of using beef and pork. Do that.
Oh, I like it. Turkey bolognese. Yeah. Yep. I'm with you. See, there we go. We're thinking, and there's so many options to do just to get rid of it too, and not to waste it. You don't have to feel like you're wasting something. I think that's important too. I'm not. Well, us Gen Xers, Chris, and
turkey club. A little turkey with some cheddar cheese and maybe a little bacon that you have left over from the bacon, egg, and cheese in the morning for breakfast.
Absolutely, little breakfast action. I love it. Well, those are some great ideas.
Sourdough bread or anything like that. Yeah, mix it on up.
Yep, sourdough. That used to be my go-to when I was younger. Use the sourdough bread for sandwiches, turkey like lunch turkey sandwiches. So that we used to do that back in the Midwest. Heck of a lot. Let me switch my little background here. Still on my last guest, and we are good to go. Well, hey, man, lots of discussion coming down the hatch. College football playoff committee. Chris, I almost feel like they purposely wanted to keep it like this, just so we're complaining. And maybe it just brings more, interest to it because they suck. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, why would you not fix it? Just, I was going to ask you, what should they be based on? Most deserving, most power, a mix of them? I mean, where should we be at here?
I think ultimately, like above all, like the number one thing should be like who ultimately are the best 10, 12 teams, which I guess 12 or 11 really being you got the group of 5 outlier in there. It should be the best teams. That should be like number one. But I think when you put that up, you need to look at then and see because that essentially is team A is favored over team B is favored over team C, and it's traditional power ratings. And you and I and all the bettors know out there, favorites don't always win. And that's like people talking about the Notre Dame Miami deal, like, oh, Notre Dame would be favored over Miami if they played now. Well, Notre Dame was favored over Miami when they played in August, and Miami won the game. So while the who is better, who are the best teams, that's great in theory. I do think you need to then take into account resume, all the strength of schedule, who you've beaten, head to head should be like the next thing. But right now, did any of them play? And then that's when you start juggling things around. But what you said, it's something that I think more people may think, and maybe not people are saying it. It feels like they really want to get a lot of this like legwork and really get a lot of runway out of this Miami Notre Dame debate by keeping them separate by the two Big 12 teams, which look, the Utah certainly should not be ranked ahead of Miami. BYU, if they got the one loss, if you want to put BYU ahead of Miami for now, sure, they're not better than Miami, but if you want to put them ahead,
well, they'll be out of there soon.
Exactly, fine. But it feels like it's almost like, why is Notre Dame even ahead of Alabama? Like, Alabama's got much better wins than Notre Dame, and one of the toughest strength of schedules in the country. I mean, Alabama's win over one-loss Georgia is one of the best wins in the entire country. So there are some people that I am friendly with in our Miami media /fan/ whatever chat you want to call it, that almost feel like this is setting up for like an 11th hour switcheroo. Should Miami go to Pitt Saturday and win? Should Notre Dame go to Stanford and win? And setting up for then the whole, now we can compare them in 10-2, and that's when the head-to-head comes into play. What really bothers me about this whole, there are a lot of things that really bother me, you know that. But it's this like thought process that like, the treating Miami's losses on the road in overtime to SMU, who's going to be ranked, by the way, when the rankings come out next, and to Louisville, a fully healthy Louisville team. They're treating like Miami lost to Syracuse and BC. Like it couldn't be further from the truth. And all of this, the whole narrative about, Miami's struggling and it doesn't pass the eye test, but Notre Dame's getting better. You see Notre Dame up 12-10 with 30 seconds to go, a one-win BC team in the third quarter. Like, that was like 3 weeks ago. Notre Dame fans and they want to talk about anything but what happened in Miami on August 30th or 31st, whatever the day of that game was. They'll bring up the Syracuse 70-7 score. They won't bring up the fact that the score with NC State was 10-7 midway through the third quarter, and Miami led 31-0 at that point. Yeah. You don't want to hear that. Like, they want to talk about anything but what happened on the field. So it'd be interesting to see look. I think both Miami and Notre Dame are playoff teams, and both should be in the field. But if it comes down where they're both 10-2, you got to make a choice somewhere. And if they do make a choice and they don't choose Miami, then I would suggest every Power 4 head coach out there go out and say, okay, well, all right, we're canceling every future big non-conference game, and we're just going to go play Old Dominion and Central Michigan and whoever else, because if you get to a point where winning the game ultimately isn't going to matter, why bother taking the risk?
That's a mouthful. And I mean, I agree with everything here. And here's when they first went to 12, Chris, I didn't even know that you had to put a group of 5 in. I first, and this is in the beginning, yeah. And I learned quickly, I think it's absolutely silly. Why? A historical one, yes, that UCF team from a long time, that, a great Boise team last year, I agree with that. But Jesus, this year, seriously, you're taking a very deserving team out. That's stupid. I mean, it's so stupid that it makes you not want to schedule hard games. And why would Miami schedule another Notre Dame game if they're left out of this? Why would you bother? Because they're just going to crap on you and say it's too early in the season and all that to fit their narrative. I actually almost proposed, if that's really how you're going to be, committee, maybe you don't even, maybe you throw the first 3 games out like a preseason, you make it, and you don't even, that way Ohio State can play Alabama in the beginning and not worry about losing, or either one of them not worry about losing. I mean, that's just kind of something I was thinking about this morning. Maybe, I mean, with the way you guys are acting, it is absolutely ridiculous. But then you look at Vanderbilt, they're kind of just scratching their heads being like, what do I have to do here? Do I have to blow this team out? Or Ole Miss, they probably assume they have to win, but there's some teams in there that are like questioning, how much do I have to win by? I don't understand the parameters. Miami's that one right now. Notre Dame's wondering if they're going to get kicked out. There's just nobody knows nothing here. It's all to a bunch of. I almost wish there was a computer, Chris. I almost wish we could go back to a computer.
Yeah. I don't know if we ever just want to fully get to the whole computer era of the BCS. It's funny. I'm gonna be a little borderline here with the comment, and it's certainly not meant to come across in any political fashion by one side or the other. But someone threw around, because you were talking about the Group of 5 automatic bin, the Group of 5 team automatic going. Someone threw out that like the Group of 5 auto berth to the college football playoff is like a DEI hire. And yeah, and I thought about it, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd go that far and say that, but
it's a participation trophy fire.
Yeah, you're kind of right. Like, if you look at, I'm going to pull up the Sagarin ratings right now.
Absolutely.
The Sagarin ratings, which I respect, and I like using them because as a Fox employee now, I don't want to use all of the ESPN metrics. That isn't necessarily, I mean, they're out there, they're public, it's not proprietary, like in the sense where I can't use them. But I think it's more of a neutral thing. Tulane, who right now will be the Group of 5 rep, like based on last week's rankings, they're 54th in the Sagarin ratings. James Madison is 30th.
Oh my goodness.
North Texas is 43rd.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on my
43rd. Like, and you look at, like, people can say, like, got to give them a chance. Like, give them a chance so they can be a 3 or 4 touchdown underdog on the road at Georgia or Texas Tech and lose 49-17. Like, nobody wants that. College football hardcore fans don't want that. The networks don't want that. They want a good competitive game. It's not college basketball where you got 5 guys on the floor and you're playing
too many injuries. You can't play too many games.
The Group of 5 now in this NIL era has been diluted so much because the rosters are getting cherry picked by all the big boys. So these teams you're not going to get a 2013 or 14 TC or whatever it was. You're not going to get a Boise team. You're not going to get a 2017 UCF type team and those other great teams, the Cincinnati, who made the college football playoff. Like, you're not getting that anymore. So it's never going to happen. They're always going to be in, but it does feel like it's let's throw you it's ultimately going to come down to if the favorite scenario plays out. And again, we don't know if the favorite scenario is going to play out. We know upsets happen. Like, you're going to wind up with either James Madison or North Texas or Tulane making the college football playoff instead of Miami and Notre Dame. That's ultimately what this bottom line.
Yeah, they don't look at important losses when it comes to the Group of 5. I mean, getting 22-point loss by UTSA, and all of a sudden you're ranked 22nd in their committee. They changed their narrative from, oh, you lost these 2 games, Notre Dame had better losses, to, oh, well, they're just better than James Madison. And so absolutely obscene, no reasoning, just switching their ideas as they go to fit their own schedule.
The quality loss deal, I just don't get that at all. When you're just ignoring, like, the level 1, which is like the 2 teams played, what happened, and it's like, okay, they both have the same record. The 2 teams played. Here's what happened. Oh, well, they have better. So Notre Dame losing to Miami actually was better for them than actually Miami getting credit for the win. Like, what the hell are we doing here? And the funny thing now is people talk about, oh, they lost to unranked SMU, terrible lot. SMU ranks higher in the computer ratings than BYU does. So like
they do.
So like Utah losing to BYU is a worse loss than Miami losing at SMU.
Yeah,
but
it's funny. I remember when BYU played
narratives, whatever you want to create.
I remember when BYU played East Carolina, they got outgained in yards. Very fortunate fumbles there. Yeah. What's up, Josh? Step on a duck. And what is UAV and Pitt? I agree. I mean, the ACC, man. I mean, they're not.
It's 27th in Sagarin right now.
Yeah.
In UAB is they got to be UVA is 34.
34. All right. Well, thank you, Josh, for chiming in. Very sharp handicapper, Josh, and he wants to talk a little Indiana when it comes up. So let's
talk Indiana right now if you want.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We have to get into our 6-pack of games. Let's do that first, and then we'll talk a little Indiana here.
Can we talk some college football playoff?
Let's absolutely do that. I think it's we both agree that they probably do it just for because there's no competition. There's nobody forcing them to do anything. So it's kind of like the monopoly thing. But yeah, we can definitely talk a little college football playoffs here at the end. But let's get into our 6-pack of games. And Arizona versus Arizona State is the one I'm choosing for Friday.
So home game for Kiev.
Absolutely, it's home. I should go, but I'm actually going to Flagstaff, which is going to be fun. I think it snowball up there, got a bunch of snow. Not sure if we're going to ski. I'm not that good at it, but
you're having the Turkey Day up in Flagstaff, or are you just going there for the week?
Just going there the next day. Next day to stay at my buddies. But he's got TVs, and we'll be prime watching college football and NFL. But this is an underrated rivalry. This is going to be a fantastic end to Friday night, Chris. This game's going to be fun. Wildcats are very different this year. Holy cow, are these teams like every single year just up and down. I will say that Arizona State isn't down, but man, I got to tell you, if there's a most improved Power 5 team, I think it's the Arizona Wildcats.
I agree.
This defense.
I haven't been able to figure them out all year. I had Baylor in the Superbook contest last week. I had Baylor in the Friday Football Invitational. It was right there, and then out of the blue, you get in the cover, and then 24th quarter points from Arizona.
It's crazy. And what's funny is you think about Fafita and their offense, but their defense is what's really been kind of carrying them. They're 57th in offensive EPA, but defense, they're 5th in I think they're 5th in turnover margin, sorry, at +12, and they're 5th in average field position, which tells me Brett Brennan's actually being a good coach. I was shocked. I kind of had him in my low coaching rankings here, but the Cats on their defense, 25th in EPA and 23rd in success rate, 12th best in the nation, allowing 4.59 yards per play. And Chris, if you cut the season in half and look at the second half of the season, that number's lower even. They just kind of improved from the get-go here once they started. Noah Fafita, man, after he saw T-Mac go to the NFL, he's having a great season. He's a dual threat guy. And I think if there's going to be a sleeper in the NFL next year for a quarterback, this could be the guy. 25-5 touchdown to interception ratio. ASU last year was the best story in football. I agree with that. I enjoyed them very much, but they did lose their best player in Cam Scattaboo. And now they're down to their second quarterback. Sorry, Sims is not it, man. Kenny Dillingham is a great coach.
That's Utah's best win, by the way. Jeff Sims led Arizona State.
Jeff's exactly. No mention of that, right? The Cats 1.45 net yards per play. The Sun Devils are at 0.61. This is a revenge spot. It pains me to do it, but I'm betting Arizona money line. I took them at -115. I think they get revenge here, and they come hard.
God, Arizona is a team that very easily could be on, a 7-game winning streak. The BYU game, they absolutely gave away. The story of the year for BYU, just winning a game that they had no business winning. The Houston game, they very easily could have won, lost by a field goal. This could very easily be a 10-1 team right now, and they could be headed to the Big 12 championship game against Texas Tech. So, yeah, I like your play here. especially with a little bit of revenge. And yeah, I think there were a lot of people thinking Brennan was on the hot seat and potentially on the way out the door. Didn't necessarily think that he should be the guy at Arizona, but he's done a great job. So
agreed. I cannot believe it. I had to move him up in my rankings a little bit. Let's go to a game that you picked. And unfortunately, Chris, when you texted me this, the spread kept going down and down. Wake Forest versus Duke, and this was past the 3 at one point, but now a Duke is just a -1.5, and the total is at 55.5. Is there anything left in the box here for you to grab something?
Yeah, I can't. I can't get in good faith say take Wake plus 1.5 when I took it at 3, but I guess what I could do here is just give a real good pop for Jake Dickert. And a Wake Forest team that very easily could be 9-2 right now. They got that game stolen from them by the officials against Georgia Tech with that blatant offsides. Absolutely beat North Carolina, kind of rubbed it in on Belichick a couple of weeks ago when Belichick called the timeout. Beat Virginia, beat SMU, 2 teams that could be going to the college football playoff. And now you go to Duke in a game that matters in the ACC. Miami fans and the Miami team are needing to win and then get 2 of 3 things to happen. A Wake Forest win over Duke, a Virginia Tech win over Virginia, and an SMU loss to Cal. So like the most logical feels like Wake over Duke in a situation here where Duke last week went on the road, beat North Carolina, but prior to that lost a couple of games. That defense hasn't necessarily been great. I mean, I guess you could still take a little bit of a nibble on Wake Forest on the money line if you like, as opposed to just the +1. But yeah, a lot of great coaching jobs this year. Mike Elko, Signetti, obviously all over the place. I mean, Tony Elliott at Virginia, but the job that Jake Dickert has done at Wake Forest, I think, has certainly gone a little unnoticed.
Absolutely. And if any of you guys listening out there want to drop a question, feel free to do so in the chat. Josh has a couple bangers coming up here as soon as we get done our 6-pack of games. Yeah, man, I still like Wake Forest upset Duke. Duke kind of, took out their rival last week, and this is supposed to be rivalry week, but sometimes they play a week early, and that's what you saw, Duke versus North Carolina and Chapel Bill. Boise State versus Utah State. Utah State plus 3.5, total 55.5. This is going to be a fun game in the Mountain West. Boise State's in a position to make the Mountain West championship game with a win in Logan. Problem is, just like Arizona State, man, they lost their best player last year as well in Ashton Genty, and they're also to their second string quarterback now because Maddox Matson, I saw, has been listed as out for this game. I saw his coach say that. And I think that's big. That's big because I think Madsen was really the only guy carrying this Boise State team. You saw how bad they were without him. Max Cutforth, right? That's what we're looking at. He's got a 59% completion percentage, a 1-2 TD interception ratio. He does not look good right now. The Broncos, every time they stepped up I wouldn't even say step up in class, right? Every time they stepped up in group of 5 class, to USF, Fresno State, San Diego State, they lost by double digits every single time they stepped up in class here. The Aggies have been feisty this year. They had a great win at Fresno. They have an offense ranking 36 in EPA. Boise's offense ranks 48th. I think the Utah State Aggies keep getting better and better. Boise State against the run, 120th in opponent rush EPA. That's not good. I think the wrong team's favored. I think the wrong team is favored here. I like Utah State plus 3.5. Heck yeah.
Yeah, the reason I was looking here, it's scrolling through my phone. It wasn't because I wasn't paying attention to you. I had to go back and look. I have New Mexico at 16-1 to make the Mountain West championship game. So I am hoping that you are right, because am I correct? If New Mexico beats San Diego State this week and Boise loses, wouldn't New Mexico go because they'd have a win over UNLV, they'd have a win over San Diego State, they'd be 2-1 kind of against that group of teams, which is kind of tied. Wouldn't that put them in the game?
Dude, there is the craziest tie-breaking scenario in the Mountain West that uses like the S&P and other types of rankings, and I am not even going to freaking think about it, man. But I do think that, that's going to affect it. And you might be right here. The scenario, and Josh here, maybe you can help us a little bit with Chris's scenario. New Mexico wins, Boise State loses to Utah State. If you can chime in, I know you're really good in this conference. Let me know. But dude, it gets really, really, really hairy after that. But that is a wonderful ticket with New Mexico, and I hope you win. But I do like the Utah State Aggies plus the 3.5 this week, Chris.
Well, hopefully that'll get home for you, and I'll do a little Mountain West tie-breaking. I think that game is. I think that game actually is Friday in Albuquerque. So we'll know. I will know going into your game whether I have a chance or not. We'll see.
Well, dude, once you crunch those numbers and do that homework, you let me know. Please don't spend all night on it, because I'm not sure if you're going to find a good answer right away. He said, here we are. New Mexico wins, Boise loses, 3-way tiebreaker should send Los Lobos. So that would be great for you. And let's go, Duck. I hope so. Next game, we are going to the West, where Oregon is facing Washington. Washington's plus 6.5. The total is 51.5. Chris, this is your pick. Yeah. I'm curious which side you're jumping on.
I like UW here. I'm gonna take him plus the points. I'm gonna take a little on the money line as well. I am a massive Oregon fan. I think Oregon is really good, but the difference between Washington at home in Seattle compared to Washington on the road is night and day. The fact that Oregon is so beat up. You look at where they are on the offensive line. They're beat up at receiver. Coming off of a win against SC. Like, this is going to be a very difficult game.
Did they injure more people last week against SC?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I watched some of that game, and I saw a couple guys hobbled. I mean, I think that game was more about USC's horrible defense myself.
Yeah. They're so beat up on the offensive line, and look, I don't think Washington is this great team by any chance, but you look at the Oregon game on the road at Iowa, struggle, losing at home to Indiana. I don't think that this is a gimme by any means for Oregon. There's going to be a lot of rumors about Devon Williams in the transfer portal. Could kind of be a little bit of a contract drive game for him. He's able to pull the upset. I know Oregon has gone up there traditionally in the past and taken care of them. 2023, they didn't. UW did get that win, which ultimately wound up sending Washington to the college football playoff and the Pac-12 championship game where they beat Oregon again. But I'd be maybe potentially looking towards an under here because I don't know how many points Oregon is able to put up. And I'd be looking at UW plus the 6.5 and UW plus the plus whatever it is on the money line. And that also could bring into a little, like if Oregon were to lose, do you look at maybe a no on Oregon to make the playoff? Because look, while we think the Ducks are good, we talked about how ultimately the first thing I look at is like, who do I think the best teams are? And I know Oregon rates very highly both top 5 offense and defensive efficiency. Schedule's fine, but they don't have a top 10 win. They got 2 top 20 wins, which are Penn State, who's 5-6, and then that win over SC last week. So we'll see what happens. But Oregon, no. Look at the money line. What is the better price? Washington on the money line, Oregon to miss the playoff. I think it potentially could be the same thing. And maybe I don't feel as good about potentially Ole Miss. I think is the type of thing where if you think Ole Miss is going to lose to Mississippi State, whatever the best price is, may miss the playoff or Mississippi State money line, do that.
Yeah.
It might be the same thing in Seattle, but I would probably lean towards that. I'm thinking this through a little bit more. Just take UW on the money line here because I think there would be a scenario still where Oregon could make the playoff.
So you like the 6.5? Does this go back to 7 too? It makes me wonder. I know. No, I'm wondering if it will. I wonder if public money is going to come in on Oregon. Okay, it is 7 now back at DraftKings.
Perfect.
A hard
I get
We're calling it 7 for you. We're making it 7 because of DraftKings.
You're in the holiday spirit. I appreciate that, Kiev.
I hope Jeff Schwartz was okay with this when you discussed this with him.
He's gonna be mad at me, but that's okay.
I actually hate the argument, Chris, of who did you beat when Penn State was the preseason #1 team in the nation, and they actually did have Aller as their quarterback. Now, should they have been the preseason? Probably not. But it sucks when I hear that, because what if you do schedule great teams? It's a situation where it's not your fault, I mean, and I can almost say that about Vandy and some of the SEC teams that they beat. It's like I'm sorry, Penn State sucks this year, or it's like I can't help that.
It's the same thing. Is Georgia Tech still getting credit for Clemson when Clemson was a top 10 team, whatever it was, when Georgia Tech won that game?
Yeah,
Miami's still getting credit for beating a top 10 Florida State team and a Florida team which was ranked. Like, is that happened? There are a bunch of examples that you can go down and do that. And look, it has to matter a little bit, but that's why I like, kind of, in theory, the exercise that the College Football Playoff Committee is supposed to do every week: start anew, refresh, take everything to account, and kind of look at wins versus current ranked teams and what your schedule kind of looks like now.
All right. I don't disagree with that. Let's move on to the next game. Now I'm going to Ohio State versus Michigan, Chris. 10-point spread right now. Total 44.5. I'm just double checking since the lines are moving so much on us.
44.5 is still the total?
Yeah, I think so. 40, but it's juiced -118 to the under, and this is at 10. So, Chris, this is what they like to call the game. If you live in Michigan or Ohio, people like me from other states don't give a shit about it. Look, hey man, I'm sick of them. Like, I don't care who wins or loses this game unless I'm betting it. I don't, because I have to hear from them how, like, they're just, oh my God, we lost to Michigan. I hear that all playoffs until they fire Ryan Day until they won the championship, man. I'm sick of hearing it, dude. This is a game and it's a normal rivalry. I am not a fan of Michigan or Ohio State. I can give a damn. I only care about what I bet on, Chris. And looking at this game, Ohio State, pretty sharp line, I think. I actually have 10.5, but they haven't beat Michigan since 2019. 2020 was a COVID year. Over the last 10 years, Michigan's 7-3 ATS. Ohio State 6-4 straight up. The total 9-1 to the over. Defense doesn't always have a say, but I think it might be a little different here, Chris, if you know what I'm saying. This uncertainty is driving the number down with Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith. Okay. I think at least one of them play. I think they both might play. I have no idea. I've heard from pretty sharp people that they think Smith might even miss this one. You know what's funny about this is that, the Ohio State, they should be knowing that they're in the playoffs. Michigan's got to win this to get the playoffs. In theory, this is supposed to matter to them more than anything. I'm not buying all that crap, but I will say that I have no interest whatsoever in the side at this number. It's just way too close to mine anyway. And Ohio State, they didn't even throw the ball much last week against Rutgers. They sleptwalked to the cover.
Correct.
Now, a few things stick out to me. I could see this game starting out slow. And I just think Michigan the kids and the coaches from embarrassment care a lot. Michigan's trying to get into the playoffs. I don't know if they win. Do they get in, Chris? We can talk about that later. But their defense is what's been carrying them. 4.67 yards per play. They're 26th in opponent EPA. That's what Michigan's defense has been. It only showed really bad when they are away from home and USC. Ohio State, the #1 defense in the league, 3.76 yards per play, 4th in defensive EPA. I'm taking the first half under. I think this starts out slow. I don't think you're going to get a lot of points. I think you might get some field goals. I took under 23.5. It's at 22.5 right now. That's the play I'm making in this game. And then after the first half, doesn't even matter.
I like your thought there quite a bit. And yeah, you hear the same things about the receivers with Tate and calf injury. Is he going to come back? And you hear about Jeremiah Smith. And then is he going to miss this week or not? Is he okay? I heard today that he supposedly is going to be okay. So we'll ultimately see what happens. But the more and more, the later and later in this game that it stays close, the more pressure builds on Ohio State. I like the way you're thinking, especially with a cold game. Supposedly snow later in the afternoon as well. I don't know how Michigan throws the ball and moves on this. I played under 44.5 already, but I kind of like your first half under even more than that.
Oh, appreciate it. Yes. I wanted to go derivative because haywire happens in these games a little bit. I still like the full game under, Chris. I'm with you on that too. I just like the first half under a little bit more, being that I think just out of the gate, there's going to be a lot of careful play on both sides of the ball. So also two very young quarterbacks, right? They're not going to try to, these coaches aren't going to try to like put them in trouble, in my opinion. All right. We are moving to the Iron Bowl. Alabama versus Auburn. Auburn +6 total 46.5. I got to tell you, Chris, this game always is closer than what you think. Even when Auburn's terrible, they somehow are in this game. They should have won it 2 years ago. Remember that last second pass in the end zone where he pushed off?
Wow. That? An SEC official doing a little helping Nick and Alabama get into the playoff.
They've been a peach this year, those officials, haven't they?
It must be nice to have like the Big 12, have a conference look out for your better teams like Utah, picking up the defensive penalty flag on that 2-point conversion and letting that the 2-point run back stand, which would have ultimately ended the game had that not happened and Kansas State scored. But that's okay. We're not bitter at all.
I think the other three do it. ACC or the definitely with.
The ACC hasn't done it with Miami. I can promise you that
they did with Clemson last year. All right, but I'm not sure the Big Ten. Yeah, but yeah. Otherwise, what do you have for us in Alabama versus Auburn, Chris?
I like Auburn plus the 6 here. I think they have a chance to win outright. You hit on it about these games being close. The last 4 games at Jordan-Hare. You have the two wins by a field goal and 2 points at Jordan-Hare. Alabama's favored by 13.5 and 20 points. And you've got 2 losses by Alabama as single-digit favorites. Auburn, the last couple of weeks, I mean, look, Auburn was put on this earth to just annoy, frustrate, and just torment and torture bettors. I had them against Vandy a couple of weeks back, and I lost in overtime. And it completely turned around my Westgate Super Bowl college football contest because the leader had Vandy and I had Auburn. So right then and there, I knew I was doomed for the rest of the season. But I think with Deuce Knight now at quarterback, the way this offense is playing, look, Alabama is a team that offensively, like running the ball, they've had some issues. People talk about Simpson not being great with Eastern Illinois, but Alabama had been flirting with the loss and been begging to be beat for a while. And then they finally had the game against Oklahoma where they turned it over a bunch, field goal blocked, and Oklahoma obliged in taking it, even though Alabama outgained them by a 2-1 margin. But right. This is a game. I want to ask you, like, more pressure Saturday, more pressure on Ryan Day and Ohio State to beat Michigan, knowing that they've lost 4 straight, however, did win the national championship last year, or more pressure on Kalen DeBoer and Alabama, knowing that if you lose, you are out of the college football playoff and all of the goodwill that was built up with the win over Tennessee, with the win over Georgia, all that is now gone.
It should be more pressure on Kalen DeBoer. The way these fanatical fans are and the media around it makes it sound like this is bigger than the freaking Super Bowl. But I think that Kalen DeBoer could be on the outside looking in. I would say you have to keep Ryan Day because of the championship last year. So there's more pressure on DeBoer, in my opinion.
I agree. I think that is correct. I don't think they're going to be making a change if Kalen DeBoer, if Alabama loses this game. Like, I don't think it would be that. However, I do think what you could see is maybe a chain reaction of coaching moves where it could create a spot where maybe a big job opens up and someone calls Kalen DeBoer and it's like, okay, well, maybe I can relocate. So we'll see what ultimately happens. But I feel pretty confident that either Alabama or Oregon will lose on Saturday. I think one of those is going to happen.
Andrew Clark says, better hope no one in Tuscaloosa wins the lottery if they lose.
Yeah, we'll be back to that.
They are dumb enough to do that and pay for
that was it. After the loss to Florida State at the start of the year, they were like, we're going to win the Powerball and buy out Kalen DeBoer.
They'll get free eggs and grits for the rest of their lives at Alabama games. Dude, I know. And it's so funny because I've heard about that lottery thing, and it's just people just paying for buyouts and stuff, live and die with the Crimson Tide. Pressure's way on this, and Auburn's playing with comfort, and they ain't making no playoff. They just have only one job to do, and that's to upset Alabama. I'm going to get to your number, Chris. I'm hoping for a 6.5. I'm going to wait it out. I have no reason to rush into it. I think a lot of people at this time of year bet what teams need to do and not what the pressure actually throws at them. And
you know what Dr. Bob always says, right? About if it's a must win.
Yep.
It must not be very good.
It must not be very good. Exactly. I love that statement from him. That's great. We have our 6-pack of games now. Let's move to a couple questions. I'll just do the most recent one. Josh was curious about your Sunj this week in the State University of New Jersey. As Chris loves to say, you should probably coin that.
UNJ.
You need to copyright that, Chris.
Yeah, we got it on the shelf back there as it showing through. There we go.
There you go, dude. I love it. Aneem, you love betting on and against this team. What do you think about the Suns this weekend? They ripped out my heart last week, so I just when it's that, you can't bet against them because they're gonna double screw you, but you can't stay away. So I mean, I just when I see the name Rutgers right now, I just have to freaking cover my eyes. But I think Penn State can do what they want, but it is so sort of let down for Penn State.
It is
that Singleton got that rushing record, or was it Katron Allen? One of them got the Barkley's record for total yards last week. And I don't know. What do you think about Sunj?
I'd play under 55.5 here.
56.5 here. Yeah.
56.5. Okay. I was just looking to see whatever I saw 55.5 at circa. That's what my screen automatically defaults to. But yeah, if you got a 56.5, I'd play under. I think that Penn State defense will make life very difficult for a Rutgers offense that is kind of floundered lately. Sold out last weekend, so Ohio State defensively hung in there as long as they could. Give Penn State a world of credit, though, for they lost that Indiana game and could have absolutely licked the stamp on the rest of the year. Come back, and they have been very good to bettors over the last month or so in the season since James Franklin firing. And I had him against Nebraska. I had him against Michigan State. Don't know if I can lay 13.5 here, though. I feel better about under 56.5.
All right, Duck talking Notre Dame and Indiana laying road points here. Well, first, I guess, would you kind of like think about doing that? Or, I mean, is this like who's more likely to cover? I would almost say that Kirk Cinetti just loves to just beat the shit out of his in-state. And I feel like the lower spread, Stanford is scrappy. They're bad. But after what Notre Dame did to Syracuse without trying, I just can't bet on Notre Dame this week myself.
I would actually bet Notre Dame. And I know that's probably a little contradictory, because I agree with in theory, I agree with what you're saying about Signetti and running it up. But with Odom, and it's his first bucket game, Nike like that, Indiana maybe kind of just looking to get to the Big Ten championship game as healthy as they can. That certainly is a factor, knowing that they're going to be playing next week. Win the game the surest way. I will say this, which is an interesting note that someone sent me earlier today. Purdue is the only Purdue scored 30 points on Notre Dame. That's the only time Purdue has scored 30 points against the Power Four opponents.
That's what made Notre Dame freaking get there.
Which is pretty amazing that Purdue scored 30 points on that Notre Dame defense. But if you look at Notre Dame, this is not a looking Notre Dame going to run the score up on Stanford. Maybe if they get the chance, they will. This is more that I think Stanford had their Super Bowl last week, beating Cal, getting the axe back. I think it's more about that. I think Stanford that was their game last week. And I think here it's going to be more of a Notre Dame coronation. So I feel more confident about laying the points with Notre Dame than I do Indiana.
Okay, there you go. Purdue might have some. Yeah, Stanford did get their rival, so they're in a legitimate letdowny spot just because of the fact that you would think you don't let down against Notre Dame, but when you're that bad of a team and you know you just got your rival, you probably have a little quit in you. Still partying after that one. That was a huge win, and it got good old coach fired. It's Friday. It's funny, Egg Bowl. Now it's played on Fridays, which is unfortunate because I always loved having the other TV.
Loved it on Thanksgiving night. Yep.
Sucks that they moved it. I was watching NFL and then Egg Bowl and won, man. But they did for ratings reasons, and now they're just going to get so many people getting up at 10 in the morning, 6 in the morning, whatever. Depends where you're at, to watch this Egg Bowl. And you got Mississippi State. Their money line is plus 235, and Ole Miss, and I'll tell you this, Ole Miss is still much bigger than that to miss the college football playoffs. So that's the market's telling you that they still can get in with a loss. I don't
agree with that at all. They could if other teams wind up losing, but
well, then you got to come up with your own line and figure out the money line price on it, right? That's what we have to do. That's what handicappers need to do. What's the number that it should be? I think 3-1 is my number. I mean, here's my problem. This number is not at my power rating. I have Ole Miss by 8.5. But is this one where I throw away my power ratings? Because I do that sometimes and win. I mean, I feel like there's all kinds of weird pressure on this weird Ole Miss team with a young quarterback. And say what you want about Mississippi State. No, they're choking. At least their quarterback has a little bit of experience, And I think they're live to win this kind of too, Chris. And I did bet when Brad Powers sent us that text 10. I took the 11-1 for Ole Miss.
Yeah,
to play,
I think by the time I got to it, I think it was like 980 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a perfect live bet game. If you're betting anything before the game, the only thing I could bet would be that Ole Miss to miss the playoff type of bet. That's the biggest price available. It's the only thing I could bet pre-flop. But I think you're going to know right away in this one whether Lane leaving, they're just going to go out and say, F you, we're just going to go out and play great and blow this team out, which kind of peaked a little earlier in the year. And the last couple of weeks have not been as good. Or they're going to come out, they're going to play around with their food, and you're going to know within the first couple of drives the way this is going to go. A lot like a lot of those bowl games where you see a lot of opt-outs and whatever else, or the team doesn't care to be there. I think it's going to have a little bit of that feel from an Ole Miss standpoint. The thing is, too, like with Ole Miss, like I'm not really sure how good they are. Like you look at a lot of the metrics with Ole Miss in terms of like point per drive differential and like yards per play differential when you're really limiting it down to like the power. I know they got the win in Oklahoma, but it's like, wow, they better win or else that no ticket that Brad has at plus 1,100 or so is going to be super live.
All right. Well, that ticket that we have would be nice. And I'll tell you this. Ole Miss, defensive line yards, 101st. There's some ugliness to them. Offensive field position, 92nd.
It's their defense is the worst unit efficiency-wise amongst any of these teams in CFP at large contention.
Defensive rushing EPA, 104th. You're right, and they had the easiest SEC schedule. They got Oklahoma also with a banged up quarterback. Or did he play that game?
He played and was not very good.
Right. Okay. So it was great for Chambliss to get to play that game. And as good as Chambliss has been, I feel like his last few games has not really sold me. well, you have a lot more experience with the Blake Shapen kind of guy who's a senior, and he got injured last year. This is their Super Bowl. Yeah. Oh, also, Duck likes the under. I like the under too, Duck. I think I'm going to bet that actually, man.
Yeah.
I like under 62 for sure in this game. I'll be on that with you. I totally agree. I'm writing it down right now. Forgot to bet it before, and I agree. This is 8 straight unders, he says.
I don't know how many people fool around out there with the prediction markets out there and the Kalshis and stuff of the world. Like, you can still get the yes at 64 cents on Kalshi to Lane Kiffin to LSU. I would suggest a play there. That's going to happen.
What's the number on?
The yes is 64 cents. You can buy it on it. He's going to go to LSU.
So. Okay. Well, there you go. All right. He's going to LSU. I mean, that's even a bigger part of the handicap thing. Let's keep doing a little hodgepodge before we get into our bangers here. What about Pitt, Miami? I mean, it's 7 now, Chris. Is this one of those coach mess ups again? It was funny. Narduzzi this is what he does. I mean, he couldn't do it against Notre Dame, but it just, I don't know. Cristobal, I know he was on your show, and you probably got to be nice, but +7 total 50.5.
No, I mean, I think there's a little bit of a belief here, and a little bit of reaction from the pollsters and the playoff selection committee, just kind of like, okay, go out and win out, and then we'll reassess your team, because they were in this position last year at 10-1 and blew a 21-point lead to Syracuse and didn't wind up making the ACC championship game, because in 2017 Miami was undefeated and wound up losing to Kenny Pickett and Pitt, because Mario Cristobal had a loss at Arizona State in what was it, 2019, when Jaden Daniels was a freshman and had an opportunity to kind of get to the college football playoff for the national title game. Like, it's happened before, and I think people still have that, not necessarily in the back of their minds, but more so in the forefront of their minds. But the biggest difference here compared to last year, for sure, is this Miami defense is legit. Their front is big time. I think Pitt's going to have a hell of a time trying to block these guys. Look, anything can happen. It's 60 minutes of football in a cold weather environment on the road against a team that has been known for pulling upsets. But I think Miami will go up there and win the game. I don't know if I want to lay 7 per se. I laid 17.5 last week, and obviously lost on a hook in a game that they led by multiple scores the entire game and couldn't get the cover. But Pitt has the feel of that. I always like to joke about the dog with fleas.
Yeah.
Pitt has the feel of that public underdog this week.
Yeah, they got some. I mean, they're about to choke to Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech threw the pick 6 right to them.
Oh my God! And then the fake punt. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Oh, it was terrible.
I had Pitt as well last week.
It was terrible. Florida State live on Nickelodeon. What a gross watch. I won't even let my kids watch Nick. I'll block Nickelodeon that day. Right. So there you go. What? There's a couple other. I don't really care. Nico Amalava is going to play against USC. I don't know how much that's going to matter. Big freaking deal. Can Virginia lose to Virginia Tech, and when Virginia's at home?
They were in overtime against North Carolina a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But why can't they lose?
They also had needed a safety to beat Washington State. Yep. Also later in the year too. So
whoever was it, Josh before or someone else that was asking about the power ratings for Virginia, like down there. I mean, they're like 37 or 38 in the. I mean, they could lose to anyone.
I think they're just as fake as BYU. To be honest with you, that's what I thought.
Oh yeah, they and Georgia Tech are East Coast BYU.
Absolutely. My Badgers playing Minnesota for the Axe. You know, I was pretty impressed by the fight they had last week, but they still have 0 offense. Not like Minnesota's got a lot of offense. This can be a fun game. I'd still go under 37.5 in this, Chris, to be honest.
That Virginia game, by the way, just look, down to 9.5 in a lot of spots too. So the Hokies are taking some money. Give Wisconsin a ton. I give Penn State a ton of credit before. Give Wisconsin a ton of credit. They survived that bye week. Survived the Ohio State game. Said, no, we're sticking with Luke, probably financial reasons, couldn't buy him out and
Definitely
whatever.
financial reasons.
But you know
Nobody
what?
won the lottery here. Nobody
You know
won the
what?
lottery in Wisconsin.
They beat Washington. They came back. They won again last week. Thank you, by the way, for getting that Illinois under 8.5 wins. That should have been won already, but we got the Illinois under 8.5 wins. Good win for them, and good for Wazoo, a team that it looked like it was a dead program once the Pac-12 kind of was dead and buried. You go to JMU, you lose by 4. You go to Virginia and you lose by 2, and then Virginia, and then there was one other Ole Miss, lost by a field goal at Ole Miss. Right. Could be 3 potential college football playoff teams that went on the road and nearly beat all 3. So salute to Wazoo for playing your ass off this year.
Absolutely. Step on Duck, Western Michigan. Yeah, I laid 5.5 on Sunday morning, dude, and that's at 7.5 now. I'm actually thinking about a buyback on Eastern Michigan for half. I'm 7.5. It's still a rivalry. I don't know. That's for that game's going on before this podcast release. LSU, Oklahoma, massive rain and wind, what they're calling for. So this total went all
in Norman.
Yes, the total's down to 36.5. Yeah, I don't know. I would lean Oklahoma until I saw all that. LSU's got some serious issues, but maybe they do kind of fight. It says 16 mile per hour winds right now. It's still a little early, but also rain, moderate rain. So that's what's going on with that game. But Vandy, Tennessee, Chris, I took Vandy plus 3.5 immediately. It's 2 because I knew which direction this is going. I didn't really. I'm not sure if I'm putting my stamp on that yet. I love Pavia, and he is the most valuable person to his team, even though he might not win MVP. But this is now past where I can bet it at 2.5, Chris.
Circling back before I hit Vandy, Tennessee. Don't you feel a bad weather game in Oklahoma would probably favor Oklahoma? Like how LSU, they're going to want no part of this. It just season's over, disappointment.
Oh my God, were they bad last week, dude?
You got Oklahoma with Mateer, who can at least run the ball. Like it feels like an old school, just run Mateer 25 times, and you score 13 points, and you're probably going to win 13-0 or something like that.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if that total's low enough at 36.5.
Right. Yeah.
It feels like Oklahoma money line might even be a play there if you can find something to link that up with to shorten it. I like Tennessee here. If I mentioned Ole Miss's defense was like the worst unit metric, like Vandy's right there with them.
Yeah.
Tennessee showed me something last week. I mean, they hadn't won in Gainesville in forever. Went out there, defense played one of their better games of the year. That offense is really good. I think they're going to put up a boatload of points. It feels like at the very least, Tennessee team total over would be my favorite way to attack this. And we'll see what happens. Vandy certainly wants to make a college football playoff case, but I just don't know. Like it's one of those. Okay, you beat LSU, you beat Missouri, you beat those highly power rated teams still. Kind of in the SEC, none like all South Carolina and Auburn, none of which are like super great, but and then kind of got blown out by Texas, and you lost at Alabama. So
maybe I go for a true middle on this one, just a true 3-point middle. Maybe I do that. I mean, hell, it got through in Texas, right? That's maybe I do that because I grabbed the early number. That's been benefiting me. Beer bet bangers, my friend. I have a good one for you, Chris, because I'm always looking to help the bear out in many situations. So I'm taking Cal money line beer bet banger. They just fired Justin Wilcox. This is a coaching fire bump. This is Cal has nothing better to do than not have any pressure on them and upset an SMU team that has been a little suspect. They got better throughout the year, but they still lost to Wake Forest on the road. I can see Cal uglying the dog crap out of this Saturday night game, shocking the shit out of people. And then you can parlay that with Virginia or Virginia Tech if you want to, my friend. But Cal losing plus, or Cal winning, SM using plus 410 is my beer bet banger.
You would make a lot of people happy with that. Yeah, like I said, I think one of those dogs will win outright, Washington or Auburn. So I would suggest that. But if you're looking for something else long term, you can find Liverpool around 8-1 or so to win the Champions League. And I know domestically right now they are a mess in the in the Premier League. They're not going to repeat as league champs. However, look at the Champions League last match, beat Real Madrid, who are arguably the best team in the world. Was the best match they played since the start of the year with their new bodies. The fact that the league they already punted on the League Cup. The Prem is over. Like, Champions League is their focus now, and I think you're going to see that moving forward. The talent is there, obviously. They just need to figure out a way to get it all to come together, and they did it against Real Madrid. So if you can find, you might even be able to find better than 750 now on Liverpool to win the Champions League. So that's something that might be a little bit of a bang for your buck long term there.
Peek at the board. Western Michigan's 10 now. What? That's a lot, man. It is. It's 10. I mean, I'm sitting here with -5.5, but the fact that
it seems like it's too much.
It seems so drastic that it scares me from taking the middle now. You know, it's like, what is going on in Eastern Michigan here? I mean, seriously, who's driving this number that far up? I was shocked it went to 7.5 too, and now it's at 10. Is there an injury that I don't know about or something?
I don't know. As our guy Fezzik likes to say, it seems like a little bit of a bridge too far. To 10 feels like a bridge too far.
Yeah, sure. It certainly does. Any quick NFL before we roll, Chris?
I hate myself so much. That's pretty much like the theme song for betting the NFL this year. I hate myself.
That's not the Thanksgiving spirit. Come on, man.
But you have to hate yourself to bet the NFL.
You do. That's true.
And I hate myself so much that I'm riding with the Titans getting 6.5 against Jacksonville. I mean, maybe I don't know. It opened at 7. I don't know if it'll go back to 7, but the Jaguars are like the most undisciplined, unsound team in the NFL. You can count on them doing something ridiculously stupid every single game. Yeah. And the Titans, to steal the line from SVP and Stanford Steve, like I don't think the Titans are any longer the slumlord of Pooptown. Like I think that's now the Raiders have occupied the slumlord of Pooptown. The Titans have looked a little bit more respectable in recent weeks. Laying 6.5 on the road with Jacksonville is just crazy talk. So give me the Titans.
I agree. And I love Jacksonville this year. They've cashed a lot of tickets for me, but they're also the most untrustworthy team next to the Atlanta Falcons, and laying points with them is ludicrous. I will say that Liam Cohen is something a little bit nicer than they've had before. I think it's going to take a little time to get this team back together, but it's kind of like the Bears laying points. It's like, dude, you got to go against that. Chris, you're the man. Yeah, I'm very excited to see where you go this weekend and watch a little Fox Sports big noon kickoff. It's a great seeing you, and I really appreciate you coming on the show. Could you let our listeners and viewers know where to find your great information and plays?
Oh, yeah. Obviously, Bear Bets, the weekly rewinding little holiday week preview is released on Monday. Then we'll have Bruce and the Bear come out on Friday. We've got an NFL show coming out as well. And Saturday, big noon kickoff live from Ann Arbor, 9 a.m. Eastern, 3-hour show this weekend ahead of the number 1 versus number 15 showdown at the Big House.
All right. Well, now that Chris is going to be at the game that I only care about my bet on. So there you go.
Chris, and I'm sure I'll be very vocal on social media later Tuesday night and Wednesday once the college football playoff rankings are released on Tuesday night.
Absolutely. Duck has a request. Can you sign off the way you know best?
The less you bet, the more you lose when you win.